You know what? I think now would be the perfect time to do this. How's it going, everybody? My name is Michael Lazenby, and for the first time, welcome to my edit suite. It's the first time I've done anything like this before, but it is single-handedly the most requested video I've ever received. So I thought, what better time than to sit down, bring you guys in and trade some knowledge with you, so when we can all get back outside, you guys can take your drone footage to the next level. So for those of you that don't know me already, my name is Michael. I'm a full-time videographer and photographer, and a lot of the work I do revolves around drone cinematography. I feel over the last few years, from working on a lot of different projects, I've been able to refine my craft, and now I feel confident enough that I can share some tips and knowledge with you guys. So I've compiled everything I know into what I feel are the 8 most important tips that will help you take your drone footage to the next level. Now, I fly a DJI Phantom 4 Pro, but don't worry about what the gear you have. All of these tips can apply to any make or model drone. It doesn't matter about what the gear is. All that matters is the idea that you have and how you apply it on the shoot to tell your story. So the first thing I do before anything happens is I plan my shoot at home, and that is my first point for today. If you're going out shooting in the mountains, you want to know what the wind speed is, if it's going to rain, how much natural light are you going to get, stuff like that I plan meticulously before I consider making the trip at all. And you also have to be prepared for the weather taking a turn on the day, which happens a lot. So don't be afraid to come away with nothing or make the decision that you don't feel confident enough to fly. There have been so many occasions where I've got to a shoot up the top of a mountain, I've hiked all that way pre-sunrise, got up there, the weather isn't anything like it said it was going to be on an app, and I've had to make that call to not get what I came for. But that's okay. If I'm not feeling 100% confident, I don't take off. It's as simple as that. And that's the rule that you should apply to yourself. Obviously, the landscape is always going to be there, but your drone might not be if you do decide to make that flight. So it's your decision to make, but that's the way I do it. Another thing I like to do, which a lot of people might not consider, is I like to familiarize myself with a landscape from an aerial perspective before we get there. So Google Earth is a great tool for that. Sometimes I'll even pretend that I'm the drone and I'll move the cursor over the ridgeline with a low pass to see how the shot might look in a previs sort of way. And stuff like that is good for helping you become a better cinematographer, because you're starting to plan things a lot more, and you're saving precious minutes on your batteries because you know the type of shot you're going to get. So you're not just flying up there, having a look around, seeing what looks good. You know straight away, you know, right, I need to go get that and I need to get this. And obviously a lot of your shots are still going to come to you when you're on location, like me. That happens all the time. That's natural because you've got a feel for the place, you know what's going to work. And so this is kind of a nice segue onto point number 2, which is shooting at the right time of day, which I think a lot of people might overlook sometimes. So 90% of all my shots are taken in golden hour. That's sunrise and that's sunset, and that is when the light is at its softest and it's closer to the landscape, so it's brightening it up, it's making everything look soft and nice. Drone cameras are notoriously hard to work with in post-production, so shooting at a time when the light is nice and soft is really beneficial to the quality. And then for me, it makes the shoot a lot more rewarding, because if you're going out at sunrise, you've made all that effort to get up, you're going out and you watch the sun come up and illuminate the landscape, and it just feels so much more rewarding. For me, it just puts my head in the zone and I know I'm going to get some really nice shots. So that's tip number 2, shoot at golden hour, bring your shots to life a bit more. It's just such a nice time to shoot. So tip number 3 is probably the worst offender I see in most people, and that is just flying the drone straight forward and not really getting any other type of shot. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times when this type of shot fits the scene perfectly, but the point I'm getting across is it's nice to have some other types of shots to have a play around with, and it just gives you that much more variety in post as well. So 2 of my favourite styles of cinematography are panning the gimbal up as the drone flies forward to reveal a big landscape, and the second is to do a wrap around a subject whilst the drone is getting closer or further away to reveal the scale and the perspective. A good tool for this on DJI is the point of interest intelligent flight mode, so that controls controls the drone's flight maneuver, so it'll circle around a subject and it allows you to focus on the camera movements and how close the drone is to the subject. So I will typically have it fly around and I will pull back the drone as it circles and lift the camera up, and that just gives a nice cinematic shot. There's so many different styles of shots you can go for, so I'm going to leave an example of some that I've just gotten from one location on the same day, and that just shows how much variety I have then to work in post-production with. So you may have noticed in a lot of my shots that they always seem to have a subject in them, be it a person, a vehicle, or even a mountain really up close with something else in the background. And that's my fourth point from today, is using scale and perspective to tell your story. This for me is fundamental to any shot I take, because you're telling the viewer where to look and you're sort of leading them into the frame, and then you're crafting the shot around that subject. You're just giving the dynamic of the image a whole new perspective, and it just really brings it to life a lot more, and it's something for the viewer to engage in. It also gives you a lot of freedom in post to try out a few zoom techniques, which we're going to talk about in the next video when we go over the editing process. So the final tip I have for you today, I think it kind of circles back around to the beginning, and that is to try and always tell a story with your shoot. There have been so many times in the past where I've gone on location, done a shoot, I haven't planned it properly, and I just haven't got enough or the right material to tell a proper story with. So you always want to try and make sure that you have an idea of where your shoot's going to start and where it's going to end, and what you're going to get in the middle to get from point A to point B. Be it if it's all just drone stuff or it's a mix of drone and camera stuff. It's good to have all that in mind so you know what you're going to get. So for example, this short film of Derwent Water in the Lake District, I had it mapped out in my head of where it was going to start and where it was going to end. And I think this footage is a nice way to cover everything that we discussed. It was planned meticulously, it was a perfect morning in the Lake District. There was no wind, there was no clouds, it was just blue skies, a nice sunrise. It was shot at golden hour, it was a variety of shots, so a whole host of material that I could use, and it used scale and perspective with different subjects to lead us into shots and to take us on that journey and tell the story. So there we go, 5 tips to help you guys take your footage to the next level. I hope some of these were useful. If there's anything you'd like to know, drop it in the comments below. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and tell me if you think I should just stick to making actual videos and not stuff like this. But if not, I'll see you in the next one.